how to create that first impression on board the aircraft and why is that so important. Make sure to stay tuned until the last minute of this video, as I'm gonna share with you tips and tricks that I believe that you have never heard it before, based on my knowledge and my 10 years of experience. My name is Julia George and I used to fly for Qatar Airways, as I said, for 10 years, out of which 5 years I have spent in the leadership role. Now let's find in first place, what is a first impression? Psychologists define the first impression as a moment when one person encounters another person for their first time, and in their mind they are creating a mental image about that person. Now this all is determined by many factors, by the environment these two people are meeting for the first time, by the body language that the person is emitting, by the things that the person is speaking, so on and so forth. When passengers are boarding the flight, we, the cabin crew, are actually the first people that they are meeting on board the flight. And they're already the ones who are forming the mental image about us. So I believe that by the end of this video, you're gonna have an exact idea of how to make that first impression great and to make the passengers that you're going to be serving on board the flight having the most positive mental image about you, and then setting the tone for a flight that's going to be successful, that later on will save you from any situation that might go wrong during that flight. And no matter how much it's going to be sounding like a cliche, but you've got to remember that you've got only one opportunity to make that first impression great, because you're boarding the passengers on board the flight only once for a particular flight. Creating that positive first impression is equally important with your passengers on board the flight, but prior to that is also important with your crew members, as you're going to be attending that briefing before every flight. But we're going to cover that subject about the first impression with your colleagues in another YouTube video. And if you're someone who has a customer service experience, you will know exactly how important is that first impression. And if you have not had a customer service experience, or you're a fresher, please try to think from a customer point of view and try to remember a situation in which you were a customer and the person who has served you, irrespective in which field it was. Think of that first impression that you got from that person and try to implement that on yourself, and try to imagine yourself when you will be giving that customer service to a passengers, to your customers, whether you will be able to cover up and to cope with the points that I'm going to share in this video. And let's start with the first and the most important point of the first impression, which is the greeting. Now, it's really not important how you're gonna start the conversation and how you're gonna greet your passenger, but it's important how you're gonna do that. And how you're gonna do that, it's based on the facial expression that you have and the body language that you're gonna use and how much you are ready to be there at that particular moment welcoming that person. So for example, if you're standing with your hands crossed like this and you're just looking at the passenger and saying, "Hi sir, welcome on board," and literally presenting yourself with the guard, it's not kinda great first impression and not kind of great meeting. If you see the passenger, you observe that the passenger is coming towards you, and actually it's coming towards you because you're standing in the aisle, and you stand with open palm gestures, which are, if I'm the passenger, they are giving me the impression that this person is actually here for me, and you say, "Welcome on board, sir, let me help you." This makes a great first impression. The open palm gesture, the smile, doesn't necessarily mean you should say "welcome on board, sir," or just "welcome, ma'am," or just say "hello." It depends how you are going to present yourself, how much emotion you're going to be turning into when you will be welcoming that person. I've often observed over here on the YouTube amazing videos in which you've got the slides, the pictures going on, and you have somebody with a very pleasant tone of voice behind, standing and talking to you and actually explaining to you things related to aviation. But it's very, very important that over here, me as a speaker in front of YouTube and you as a watcher who's watching this video, we have a connection and you understand actually how important is the open palm gesture. And if in this particular moment you're able to think as a passenger, and I'm, let's say, your cabin crew, and I stand in front of you with open palm gestures, with the smile, and saying to you, "Welcome on board, it's an absolute pleasure meeting you today, let me assist you with your your bag, it gives such an assurance that I'm going to be here for you the entire flight. You have nothing to worry about as long as you are my passenger. When you will be doing all those ground duties before you welcoming the passenger, it is very important what kind of mindset you have. Are you just going to be standing there welcoming the passengers on board the flight? You're gonna wait. You cannot wait for the flight to be over because you can't wait to land in Paris. You've got to shop your Louis Vuitton, your Gucci, because you know there is a tax refund and so on and so forth. Or you are actually thinking of how you're gonna do those ground duties the best manner you can. I often said to my crew members, and I would like to also emphasize in this video, is that you, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand the aircraft as your home, and it will be excellent if you understand the passengers as your guests. What does that mean? You will get a very clear guidelines on how you should prepare and present the amenity kits, the headphones, how the magazine rank, in which inside is the magazine, the safety instruction card, and other things related to the aircraft should be arranged. But over here it's very important what kind of emotions you're going to put when you will be presenting all those things, how you are going to arrange your zone. Remember, in one of the videos about the leadership, I have spoken to you that you're actually beside the cabin crew, you're an onboard manager, and you've gotten a zone that your seniors has given to you, and you're supposed to be managing those zones. Now, starting from the ground itself and preparing the aircraft just the way you are preparing your home when you are receiving guests is crucial, because you're gonna have the passengers coming on board the aircraft. You have to greet them with the best positive body language and with the most amazing smile. But remember, if you're going to somebody's home and that person is greeting you perfectly, is welcoming you, but you're actually sitting on a clean house, in a clean house, but actually inside everything is dirty, how do you feel? Now remember, in the aviation, if you have not had customer service experience, we have a lot of departments that are taking care of the aircraft before we reach the aircraft. I always say that we are blessed as cabin crew because we need to be perfectly groomed. We need to have the perfect knowledge how to serve the meals, what do we serve, and how to take care of the passengers. But we have an enormous team of people working to prepare that aircraft to look absolutely fabulous for us to welcome the passengers. But we have things that they're giving to us and we need to arrange them, and I have mentioned them. They are the amenity kits, they are the headphones, the blankets, the pillows, and the magazine ranks, so on and so forth. It's very important that we prepare all those things with love. When we will be having passengers joining with us and welcoming them on board, when they will be seeing that we're absolutely spotless, well groomed, the aircraft is perfectly clean, those headphones, those amenities, the blanket, the pillow, everything is perfectly fitted, and you can observe and see when things have been put on there with love and care, and when things have been thrown just like that. In Qatar Airways in particular, and I'm sure Emirates Airlines and Etihad Airways are striving for the same. They are really particular about logo facing the customers because it's a brand and those products belong to the airline. So pay attention to the logo facing customers, pay attention to the nicely arranged pillows and blankets. You will always have your supervisors supporting you in all these things. Actually, I was supporting my crew members in these things, and I was really paying attention to the details, and I was very frequently writing voyage reports if in case things were not as we should get them prepared prior to every flight. So the bottom line of all this is, please prepare the aircraft just the way you are preparing your home. Receive your passengers with that beautiful smile just the way you are receiving your guest when they are coming and visiting in your house. Think from a passenger point of view. Have you ever been on a flight and actually you have flown with an airline that has certain reputation, thanks to the amazing social media out there, thanks to the amazing YouTube? We have a lot of travelers who are sharing with us experience, and don't forget that the passengers will actually have their mindset of the first impression, and you're just gonna have to be there to, if it's a positive first impression in their mind, to actually reconfirm that, or if they already have had a negative first impression on their previous flight, you might be the one who's gonna break that negative first impression, and you're actually gonna recover things. So that is very important, to be able to think as a passenger that they are actually having already in their mind, knowing facts of what they should expect when they're coming on board a flight of Qatar Airways, Emirates Airlines, or Etihad Airways. Experts out there say that The first impression can be great and can be done in the best manner if we greet the passenger in the first 3 seconds that they enter the aircraft. And I do understand that the economy cabin, that might not be possible because we have loads of passengers boarding at one time. Perhaps in business and first class this will be definitely possible. But what I would suggest to you over here is, you will be a crew member or you are a crew member working in economy class, try to be very observant and try to make in your mind selection and groups that need your assistance immediately, groups that need your assistance a little later, and groups that they might not need your assistance. And when I'm saying groups, I'm saying those are the passengers, right? So let's say you are welcoming the passengers in your zone, and number one priority to assist is your special handling passengers. Over here, I'm talking about the mothers with infants, the elderly passengers, the passengers who have a lot of bags. Those are the passengers that you straight away, first you have to go approach them and straight away assist and give that hand to with the luggage, to stow the luggage. When you will be seeing a passenger with lots of bags, please don't go and say, how can I assist you? Because when you see a passenger with lots of bags, you already know that you should say, let me help you with your luggage. That means that you have been observant and you know your job. When I said on the last part over here that there are people who do not want to be disturbed, now this is something that I call it a master when it comes to being observant and welcoming passengers on board. Now there are so many people who are businessmen who are just there to fly from point A to point B, and those passengers simply do not care about us as cabin crew, and I have been observing them. These people will disturb you very little during the flight, and but it is crucial that when you see that the passenger is totally not interested about you, about your name, about the airline they're flying, they're just there to go to Paris, they want to sleep, they want to get their beauty sleep, or they're perhaps working the entire flight on their laptop, it is very important that you keep an open communication with your team and share this with your team, because these kind of passengers might call you 2 times only or 1 time, and it is very important that that 1 time or 2 times when they call you, you're actually there for them, because that might make them angry, because they'll say, I didn't disturb the crew, I didn't need anything, but I just wanted to ask one thing and the crew wasn't there. Now when you keep an open communication and you actually had a passenger who you observe that doesn't want to be disturbed and just it's working hard, you make sure you monitor that person, you share that information with your team, and that people who are going around and monitoring the cabin, because in Qatar Airways in particular, I know that the cabin crew are monitoring the cabin, they are patrolling the cabin every 10 minutes. You make sure that you share this information with your colleagues, and those passengers, again, I'm going to emphasize on them, who are simply not interested in the cabin crew, you are actually being there for them for that 1 or 2 times they might need something. It is very, very important to nail that first impression, because with them, that first impression is going to come a little later. The way you're going to be greeting your passengers and the way you're going to be creating that first impression will be very much observed by your supervisors. And if you have showed master abilities to do that, and you have shared informations that are very valid, and then later on, of course, you're going to have your supervisors patrolling the cabin, speaking to the frequent flyers, getting that feedback of how was the flight. Believe it or not, many of them will be sharing the first impression, will be sharing how amazed they are by your work, and your supervisor will write, and I hope it will write, something called a voyage report, and how good you were in your work, and that is going to go in your file, and that is going to be helping you in your career growth with the airline that you are in. We have spoken about the greetings, we have spoken about how the aircraft should look like, how much love you should spend in preparing that zone of yours that is going to be given to you. How will be the way that you're going to be speaking with the passengers, the emotions that you're going to input again in welcoming the passengers, how you are going to be observant and know whom to prioritize and give that assistance when you will be seeing them, and how you are going to be very observant to the people who might not need assistance at that particular time. But let's talk about something very important that is going to be, I believe, the cherry on top of the cake, which is called your appearance. The number one thing of your appearance is actually your uniform. And again, you should be wearing your uniform with the pride. You should be having your grooming standards out on its highest. And I'm emphasizing and I'm talking all the time that you will be getting all the necessary informations while you will be attending the initial training for a cabin crew, which is called the grooming manual. You will exactly know that your uniform should be well cleaned. You actually have a laundry, which is free of charge. You actually are getting the guidelines of how your makeup should look like, that you should have your baby hair fixed and so on and so forth. I do have a video on the grooming standards that you should apply when you will be going and attending that open day and that assessment day, and those are equally important. But going away from the grooming standards, let's say you know that you should not be having a baby hair and you go on a flight with the baby hair all over, your hat is completely dirty, your uniform is not well pressed, and it's not clean, and somehow you have escaped that grooming check prior to the flight, and you've showed up completely not well groomed. And I wouldn't say you should be well groomed. In order to nail that first impression and to make that first impression great, you have to have excellent grooming. And actually, I'm going to show you now a few pictures on what does excellent grooming look like. Seen how stunning these ladies look like in their uniform. Now we are talking about an important aspect over here, which is the smile, and the smile should come from the heart. I really do not want to go into details over here and teaching you how you're supposed to be smiling, because you already have been recruited and you should know that you're supposed to be smiling from your heart. But what I can tell you is from my flying experience, I really hate it when the cabin crew are not smiling from their heart. When you don't smile from their heart, you look fake. When you look fake, people don't like it. And going and giving that fake smile to the passengers, believe it or not, they wouldn't like it as well. And they will look for a way to either tell you, or either will make a situations that you won't be able to manage yourself. You will create, I wouldn't say that you will create problems, but you will not have an environment in which you're gonna enjoy your work. So always think of having that positive mindset, having that motivation that's gonna guide you when you will be doing that flight, because believe it or not, it's so much of a hard work over there that simply a negative attitude and a fake smile will only work against you in the first place. And before you even ask me how can I fight that feeling, I always used to say to my crew members, even in the briefing itself, ladies and gentlemen, please remember your feelings, and remember your motivation, and remember your desire. Remember what you have been through to get the job. You must never forget what you have been through to get the job as a cabin crew. That should be one of your biggest motivation, because nowadays, ladies and gentlemen, and you will agree with me, I know this, it's such a struggle to get the job as a cabin crew. The competition out there is simply huge. We are constantly raising up the standards to become a cabin crew. It's not easy to get the job, and if you go on board, show up on a flight with the fake smile, ungroomed, and totally not care how you're gonna greet the passenger, that means that you have forgotten what you have been through, and that means that you have actually faked the recruitment team that you are the person who's supposed to get the job. So please, once you lose the motivation of saying that welcome on board, ladies and gentlemen, with the biggest smile and with the biggest positive attitude that you're supposed to be having, I think that's the time that you should consider perhaps that you should find another job. After the smile comes the important aspect, which is your eye contact. Now at one moment you are talking with the passengers over here, helping the mother with the infant, but you have some other people coming. Don't be only focused to one person or one group you're dealing with. With your eyes, have a look for a moment to the other group and just give them a nod or reassure them that you're going to be there in a moment once you finish over here. Perhaps that person is also needing you at that particular time, and I know we only have two hands, we're already helping here, but it's very important to be observant and to see and to look around what is happening around you. Often the cabin crew are walking in the aisle and they're just looking straight up in front of them. They forget about the things around. When you will be a cabin crew, and since you have been recruited to be a cabin crew, and you most probably are watching this video, perhaps you've had your date of join postponed due to pandemic, but it's very important that you at all point of time not forget that you have a circle around you, and that you do not forget what is happening left and right. And the body language, I have mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm gonna mention it once again. It is very important that we are at all point of time aware of our body language. Now, if you do not possess the open palm gestures and you do not possess that welcoming body language, or you are somebody who's used to be standing like this and being on the side, now it's the right time to reconsider your gestures, to understand the importance of body language, of the positive body language, that you're actually there, you're not putting, if you're a gentleman, your hands in your pockets and stuff like that. So please consider that you have a positive body language at all points of time. I have already spoken about it in one of my videos. I'm gonna put the link down here of the confidence, how you should become confident, and about the body language that we're supposed to display while we are working as a cabin crew, or before, even when we want to be recruited as a cabin crew. So have a look at that video. Now, sometimes, not most of the time, but sometimes you've got passenger who would want to shake hands with you, and please do not look odd. I observed that crew members, when passengers are approaching and want to shake hands with the crew, they're looking odd, because we're not used to it when passengers are shaking hands. When the passengers would want to shake hands with you, please do shake the hand. And if you're someone who's not used to shaking hands, please don't shake hands like you're just giving half of the palm. Rather than shake the hand of the passenger nicely, firmly, and assure them that, sir, I'm gonna be here for you, don't worry, because that person has shown interest to shake hands with you. So don't look odd when you will receive a passenger who would want to shake hands with you. And don't forget that experts say when we communicate with people, 55% we are impacting with our body language, 38% is actually the tone of voice that we're using, and only 7% are the words. So our priority is to learn the body language to be positive at all points of time, the way we're gonna say things, and I always emphasize on the emotion. Emotions are very important. Love, care, respect. I'm gonna be there for you, sir. Do not worry. I'm here for you. Those are very important aspects to display when you are communicating with someone. And last but not the least, words. Yes, they do matter. They're only 7%, but don't stress about it as long as you're showing the positive emotions, and as long as you have the positive body language, you actually have that first impression in your hands. This part of the video goes for the cabin crew candidates. I know that the airlines would give priority to candidates who do have a customer service experience, knowing the fact that they are aware of that first impression, they have been in contact with passengers, and they actually kind of know how to do that first impression. If I'm the airline, it's gonna be easier for me to train those people and stuff like that. But if you're a fresher, what I would like to tell you over here is, do not worry, because in your open day, during your assessment day, and during your interaction with the recruitment team, if you have showed up an understanding and actually you have nailed that first impression, according to my video that I'm suggesting, which is right over here, and the link is under this video, if you assure them that you know the importance of the first impression, you know how to do it, you've done it with the recruitment team, you have nothing to worry. And now in this video, in the continuing of the video, I'm gonna actually tell you how to practice that first impression. This is equally important to the freshers, but also to the ones who have customer service experience, because practice makes things perfect. So why not give it I wouldn't say give it another try, but why not practicing once again, because you are applying to be a cabin crew in Qatar Airways, in Emirates Airlines, or in Etihad Airways, and we know that these airlines are actually the masters, including Singapore Airlines, Malaysian Airlines, and stuff like that. These airlines are actually the masters in delivering that excellent customer service on board. Prepare a script in which you are going to write how you want to greet the passengers. And let's say write down several sentences of how you would like to greet the passengers. Start reading those sentences, not in a way to learn them, but start understanding the emotions that you're supposed to be putting. When you will be seeing a mother with the infant, your greetings should be different. When you will be seeing a businessman on board the aircraft with his briefcase, his laptop, the mother will be having a totally different luggage. So there is a difference between the different groups of passengers. Now, the mother with the infant would require a little bit more emotions. Madam, welcome on board. Let me assist you with the bags, because you should be a little more softer with her. Your approach with the lady is different. When you will be seeing a businessman, Perhaps you've seen his name if you're working in the business class. Not necessarily you have to see the name, but you would go and say, well, sir, please let me assist you, or this is your seat. I hope you're going to be comfortably seated. Let me know if I can do something for you, as he has not so many bags. He had his laptop and stuff like that. You have to actually have an idea and write down the different types of greetings that you're going to be incorporating in your daily routine when you will be welcoming your passengers on board the aircraft. But also equally important, write down how you want to greet your colleagues. And when you will be seeing your friends, it's going to be easier. But when you will be seeing your crew members for the first time, sitting in the briefing and actually introducing yourself, because when you're introducing yourself in the briefing, you're actually making that first impression about yourself in front of the other people. So make that plan how you want to introduce yourself and start practicing that. Practice a role play. In this case, I suggest you to use your loved ones, to use your friends, and to speak to them, greet them, welcome them, ask them for the feedback of what do they think that you can do better, how you can improve things, and so on and so forth. But it's also good if you, let's say, put your camera away somewhere to stand, and you actually do a welcome on board, and you later on watch that video and you observe yourself and try to see whether you have been doing some things that you're actually not aware of when it comes to body language, eye contact, and stuff like that. Now, from my point of view, what I can tell you is that when I'm going back to my videos at the beginning, when I was filming the videos, and now, there is a huge difference, because every time I'm filming a video, I actually have a look and I'm sitting down and writing the things that I can improve for the next video, because as I said, practice makes things perfect. But it is also very important if we can subjectively correct ourselves and seek the opinion from the other people, from our loved ones, from our friends. And if you have an opportunity to seek a feedback from somebody you don't know, then why not? Even better. When it comes to receiving feedback, it is indeed important from everyone. To me, feedback is important, as it's a way of how I can improve things. Now, what I would like to highlight over here, and I believe it's very important, is the power lies in you. I always say this, and you should be aware of yourself, how much practice you need, how much writing in your action plan you need, and how much coaching you need. And if you're someone who is aware that your communication skills are not at the highest, and you will need actually more time to master those things, please do not forget that there are so many people out there who are offering coaching classes and coaching lessons, and who can help you tremendously to improve in this field. And one of them, in which I believe, is my dear friend NIDHI BELANI. Over here is her YouTube channel. In the link in this video is also her YouTube channel. She's actually an NLP coach as well. She can make wonders with people who need coaching and who actually want to secure the job at 40,000 feet. My lovely word that I would like to, my lovely sentence that I would like to use. So please do not hesitate to contact her. And I'd love to say this: we are in a constant battle of improvements, and we are in a constant battle of investing in ourselves. And I truly believe that the best investment a human can do is to invest in themselves, in the knowledge. And by contacting NIDHI BELANI, you can only benefit from it. And I can assure you, if you actually go on her Instagram and see one of the videos from which I have been thrilled, of a candidate who has been introducing himself before coaching with her, and then on the other side is the same candidate after the coaching with her, the way he introduces himself and the way he speaks, there is a huge difference. And I'm not doing this to promote her, because I honestly don't even have to do that, but I am here because I'm taking care of you, and I'm filming these videos only to help you improve. That's why I know that her services is something that works, and it's totally worth it to be dedicated and to be learning from. When I was a cabin service director, often, not always, but often, there were crew members who were seeking my opinion and my advice on how they can improve things when it comes to nailing first impressions with the customers. Mostly it was happening during the assessments when I have to do it, but actually there were some of them who were concerned about their performance during the flight from the briefing itself. And I was always taking my time to evaluate and to speak to them, because I was valuing that they actually chose me as somebody they are looking up and getting coached by me. So your great source of feedback once you become a cabin crew, and who is going to be helping you to improve in your job, will be your supervisors, will be your experienced crew members. Because as a new crew member, you're welcome on board, sir. Until you become a supervisor, your welcome on board, sir, will be totally different, because it's going to develop with the time, with the experience. You are not going to be the same person after you become a supervisor as when you start, for the simple reason you are gaining more knowledge, and gaining more knowledge, it only means that having that self-esteem a little higher, being more confident, and being actually presenting yourself more positively in the environment that you're going to be working as a cabin crew. With having all these things said, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification button for the many videos that are coming up. Until then, stay blessed, bye bye, and have a nice day.